about percents. We've been talking a lot about being able to change percents to fractions, percents to decimals, decimals to fractions, and all this we're doing the circle of math. Okay, so today I thought we'd start by going over your homework from last night, kind of hitting the harder problems first. It seemed like 57 was one where a lot of people had questions, so we can start by going over that one. Okay, so first of all sorts of different ways to get music in the sort of 80s and 90s, probably 90s. The one thing about this problem that's a little tricky is that they ask you to estimate. So if your answers were slightly off, for example, if you had 648 for the first part A, you're not wrong. It's just an estimate. They wanted you to make it easier. So for part A, they said to estimate the students who chose record or other. So record is 45, other is 36. So in total, that would be 81. That would be 81%. And then what they basically did is they took that and they rounded it to 80. So that's why we can do 80 over 100 times 800 over 1, and that's where we can get the 640 students. Again, if you had 648, that's fine. You're in the ballpark. You're good to go. Part B, it says estimate how many more students chose record stores than music clubs. So that is where they want you to take 45 minus the music club, which is 9, which is approximately 30%, 36%, and then you round that to the kind of the nearest 10, and that's where they came up with to use 40%. So again, if you used with the fraction 40 over 100 times 800, simplify, and you would get 320 students. Then from there, the last one, they said, what if you had 100 more students where 9% made their purchases on the internet? So for that, I would say you want to take 10% of 100, which you can estimate to be 10. And then in the original problem, internet is 8%, so that's approximately 10%. So 10% of 800, which would be 80, and that's where you add them together and you get 90 students. What you can't do is you can't take 8% and 9% and get 17%. It doesn't work like that. You have to do them both kind of individually. Okay, the other one I wanted to mention was problem 53. So in doing problem 53, they basically told you that K was 20. So you plugged in K was 20, that percent of 200. So 30% of 200. Easiest way, 30, or one way, 30% of means multiplication times 200. Try to simplify, and that's where we get our 60. Sorry, not 60%, that's just 60. And so our answer would be 60. Okay? Next, we're going to talk about tonight's homework, which is proportions and percents. Now, the nice thing is that we've just spent some time, the last chapter, working on proportions. So this is just kind of reinforcing what we've been doing in the last chapter. The first way I'm going to show you is with proportions. 30%, you put the 30 over 100. What follows the of is the total. So what we have here is 30 over 100 equals x, the unknown, over 800. What is, so it's the percent over 100 equals the is over the of. What I just want you to understand is that this of is the total, which is why it lines up with 100%. And then we solve that, and we get, trying to scroll down here, and we get 240. Okay. Now, there's another way we can do it, which is called an equation way. In this one, you translate this word for word into math type. So what? That's an unknown. So you put in a variable. Is equals 30%, 0.3, of multiplication, 800. And then you solve. Okay. And so 240 is your answer for both of those. Okay, I'll give you a chance to kind of look that over, and then we'll try another example or two. Okay, 32 is 15% of what number? Proportions, you would put the 15 over, that's right, 100, equals 32 over x, the unknown. Okay, 15 over 100 equals 32 over x. If we do it the equation way, 32 equals 15%, we put as a decimal, of multiply by x. And we solve. Now, at this point, I don't really mind which of these two ways you do. When we get to word problems with this chapter, this is what you're really going to want to try to do. Okay, that's going to be what I would encourage you to do. Okay. And I think we want to try one more example. Let's try this one. What is 40% of 280? So 40%, we put that over 100, equals the unknown over 280. If you can, it's great to simplify. If you want to, you can just cross multiply. You do that and you get x equals 112. If we translated, the unknown equals 40% of 280, and again you get 112. And I think there might have been one more I wanted to show you. Oh, this one. Okay, in this one you don't know the percent, so the unknown, the variable, goes over 100. What follows the of goes in the denominator, and the other term is your numerator. So we get x over 100 equals 98 over 125. I like to try to simplify when possible, but if you want to just cross multiply, that's fine. And so you would get you would get 5x equals 392. And then x is going to equal, that would be 78.5%. 78. Oh, not 0.5%. Okay, 78, and then I believe it would be 0.4, 78.4%. Yep, and you're using your calculator in there, so that's 392 divided by 5. Okay, and you can get started on your homework. Have a great day.